Subscribe to our channel. We have great interviews here. Please press the bell to get notifications when the new video is in. Thank you very much. Do you want to start, Kira?
Yeah, so this is, I think, episode 18, might be 19. And
maybe 17, who knows?
Thank you, Derek, for joining us.
No worries.
I mean, most people know you for your work with, I'm going to say the band name wrong now, Jamiroquai.
Yeah. You could have said Jamiroquai, as I've heard it before. Beats me, that one. Jamiroquai. What? or Jamiroquai.
Jamiroquai. That's a good one.
I like that. Jamiroquai.
Jamiroquai.
I think I'm going to do a Jamiroquai tribute band called Jamiroquai.
Jamiroquai's good.
Trademark that name. Trademark it right now.
Sorry, we cut you there. Sorry.
It's I kind of want to just go back to where it started. I hear you started drumming when you were really young, and
yeah.
I want to know a bit more about that, and if you actually had any like formal lessons ever, and how you progressed to now.
Okay, so I started drumming when I was about 6. And when I started, I didn't have a drum kit at all. So it was just my mum's hangers, like wooden coat hangers, and just drumming on a chair or on the floor, basically. Essentially, that's what it was. Just drumming to, just thinking I could play the drums. In my head, I sounded like I was playing like really cool beats, but I was just rubbish.
I bet you are. You're frozen.
But as time went on, I managed to. I played my first kit when I was about 10. When I was about 10, and it was with my mates who lived on my road, and we had this band. We don't think we had a name. But I was the drummer. My mate Chris, he was the guitarist, and my other mate Kalidas, he played bass or percussion or something. Anyway, it was very kind of, let's get a band together and try our luck, basically, which didn't quite work out. After like kind of 2 sessions, that was it. It was all over. but my interest in drums never waned. I have to say, it stayed the same, still stayed strong, and then as time went on, like when I was at school and going through school and everything, it was actually one of my sister's old boyfriends, who was a keyboard player, that actually heard me playing again on a chair, playing to records, to like some reggae tracks and stuff. He said, "Do you know what? You actually play really well for someone who's not trained or anything. Would you think of taking it up professionally?" I was like, "Nah, just do it for a laugh," But after he said that, I started to think about taking it up professionally. And he actually encouraged me to come to his band's rehearsal, and it was actually his band's rehearsal where that I actually played my first drum kit, so which was massive. Do you know what I mean? And I jumped on this right-handed kit, which felt really awkward. And the drummer said, he said to me, "Yeah, are you left-handed?" I said, "Well, I'm left-handed, but I've never, played the drums before as such, And he said, "Oh, well, swap it over." So I swapped it over, and I felt comfortable playing the left-handed way. So I've never kind of stepped away from playing left-handed. That's how I discovered I was left-handed. And that was the first drum kit I ever played. I must have been about, I don't know, 14 or something, 13 or 14.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've only had no training, and then no training. I've had including the lesson that I had maybe a month ago, I've had about 4 lessons. 4 lessons. Yeah, no, 5 lessons. 5 lessons. I've had 5 lessons. 5 lessons. 3 of which were with a guy called Lloyd Ryan, who's like a big band drummer.
Yeah.
So with Lloyd Ryan. And then I had one with a guy called 6 lessons, and I had one with a guy, an American guy who lived out in Wembley in London, and his name was Rusty, and he was a great rock drummer. He was really good. He was very, very good.
Is that
Um,
Pete? What Pete?
I don't know. I just knew him as Rusty.
Oh.
I never knew his real name. American
Oh.
guy, the black guy, wore glasses, but really good drummer. He was really good. Had the whole kind of double kick drum pedal thing going.
Oh.
Twirling the sticks, all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? But he was good, and he taught me some good stuff. And then, of course, you know, after the Lloyd Ryan days, I actually didn't have any more lessons until I'm going to say 2 years ago when I had a lesson with Kaz Rodriguez. Yeah, I had a lesson with Kaz, which was great, really good. And then I had a lesson like a month ago with J Rod Sullivan. You know J Rod?
I know that name.
J Rod. Yeah, J Rod. He plays with a band called Four Corners. He's on
Okay.
Instagram and stuff. He's like,
Yeah.
he's fabulous. He's absolutely amazing. Really, really good.
Cool.
And he's, you know, and he showed me some really good things with hand and feet combinations and just rudimental stuff, just rudiments, really, rudiments. And it's kind of, and I've just kind of just worked through it, kind of using a book called Stick Control and listening and playing and doing as many gigs as I can. The Bible, yes, it is. It is. It is. It is.
Now, going back to your early years, you say you come from a reggae background, and
Yes.
it's all my fault. I know nothing about reggae. So who were? Did you have early influences in drumming from reggae drumming?
Yeah. So there's the two main drummers for me were Sly Dunbar, who is a drummer stroke producer musician.
Yeah, I know him, but as a rock drummer, never thought he was a reggae drummer.
No. He stems from reggae. That's his thing.
Wow.
From
Okay.
Kingston, Jamaica, and his background is reggae. You know, after we're doing the stuff with Gwen Guthrie and what's her name? Oh, who sang "Pull Up to the Bumper"?
I don't know.
Oh, I
Sorry.
You know, Grace Jones. Grace Jones.
Oh.
Yes. So him and his partner, his writing partner, Sly and Robbie, Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare, they did all the Grace Jones stuff. So he was one of my main influences. And then my other big influence in the reggae thing was Bob Marley's drummer, Carlton Barrett.
Okay.
Who's fabulous. Absolutely amazing. Great sound, great style, very accurate, extremely accurate. But you know, he just jump on any kit and make it sound great. You know, as you can tell by the records, right?
Exactly, and also by some videos where you see the drum kit he's playing, and you go like,
yeah, exactly. And that sound is just it's his sound. You know,
yeah,
sound. You know, so you know it's him.
I just need to correct something. You said Sly Dunbar, right?
Sly Dunbar.
Yeah, I mixed up with Ainsley Dunbar, which is a rock.
Oh, Ainsley Dunbar.
Yeah,
right.
that one. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, he's the rock drummer. No, you're right.
Yeah.
No,
so let me clarify that before somebody says, "How come you think Sly's a rock?"
Yeah.
Big man.
No. It's Sly Dunbar. Yeah. Sly and Robbie. They're the dynamic duo of reggae music.
Okay, cool.
So you know, and I spent many years listening to Sly and Robbie and just trying to emulate Sly's playing, you know, and listening to. I bought an album many years ago called Beware, which is a dub album, which is basically, you know, it was basically a load of tracks that were done by like Al Campbell and all some great reggae stars. And then the Mad Professor did like a dub album with those tracks, and cut out the vocals and then just did like these instrumentals with the bass and drums. And I learned a lot from just playing that album over and over again. Really, you know, it's actually very influential for me in my early years. Really. And then it was not too long after that, then I began to know about my other influences, which were more the like the Billy Cobhams and Harvey Mason and stuff.
Nice. Kira?
How I want to just talk about practice a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, I mean, I get the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that you practiced loads and you do practice a lot. Is that true? And do you have like are you quite strict?
In all honesty, I am quite strict when I do practice. I'm very, pardon the pun, rudimental. You know what I mean about my practice. So I go through like a process. So I warm up. Do you know what I mean? And I start really slow, and I'm very strict. So I get my book, the stick control book, and I go through like the first page, and I go through the first page from exercise 1 right away through till the end of the first page, and try and do it. I do it one at a time, and then I go for it like one after the other, non-stop, all the way through at different tempo. I'm pretty, and then from there, you know, I then go on to kind of more. For me, it's advanced. For other drummers, it will be really simple. But I just try to just improve and technique, like hand technique, speed, you know, through talking to people like J-Rod and Kaz, you know, and trying to implement what they have taught me into my playing and making it work, and just making it a very, but also enjoyable, making it very enjoyable, you know. So I have the music going on in the background, and I'm playing along to whatever track comes on. I'll play along to that track. If it's slow, I'll play along to it. If it's fast, I try and play along to it, you know. So I'm pretty strict with what I practice. You know.
Are you like a everyday, got to be every day, or are you just as and when?
Do you know what I do? I've kind of found because I'm doing other things as well in the day. You know, I go to the gym and all this kind of stuff. So to fit it in, I give myself. What I've done is I've started to give myself, and I've been doing it for a while. Like give myself an hour a day, hour and a half a day. You know, and then I've got time to kind of get up and start my studio work, writing and doing all that kind of stuff, production, remixing, all that kind of stuff as well. So I can't, like I used to when I was younger. I'd spend like 6 hours behind the drums, but you know, I've got to pay the bills.
Yeah, life gets in the way.
Yeah, life gets in the way. Yeah. So I do tend to, I give myself like an hour and a half a day, but I try and be as productive as possible in my practicing. Really, I try to be as productive as possible. It's normally like an hour.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also curious because in your website said that when you joined Jamiroquai, it was like 2 long auditions.
Yes.
How long were they?
Well, the first one was 2 hours.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, my first was 2 hours, and then the following one was like 3 hours. Like 3
Wow.
hours.
What did you play in like 5 hours?
Well,
all the music he's ever written.
Yeah. So bearing in mind, there was only one album, right, at the time when I joined. So when I joined, when I was going for my audition, I was actually playing with another band at the time called Urban Species. So I left from their rehearsals and then went over to do this other audition with Jamiroquai, of which I turned up late, very unprofessional. But I was stuck in traffic. But
that's your story.
That's my story, but it's true. It's the truth. But I think when I turned up, we basically just started playing the tracks from the album, which I only heard because I'd never heard none of their stuff before. I didn't even know who the band was, to be honest. When I went for the first audition, I didn't know who they were, didn't know what they did. I think I heard Too Young to Die. That's what I heard. I heard Too Young to Die and thinking, oh, this band's trying to be a bit kind of rare groove, funky kind of thing, but it doesn't sound too great. Do you know what I mean? You know, but I like the track, you know. And then of course I went into the audition, and lo and behold, I started playing the same track that I just said not too long ago. Oh, you're not a big fan of this track, and so I played the same track I wasn't a big fan of, which is hilarious. So I heard the stuff, and then I just thought, it was playing, Emergency, Too Young to Die, When You're Gonna Learn, and some of the other tracks as well. So I did like maybe five tracks, and then also did a jam as well. We were jamming out as well. So there was quite a lot of jamming going on. After we played like the tracks on the album, the rest of the time was just spent jamming, really, and just playing and just creating grooves and just having fun playing, really. And Jay wasn't even there at the time. Jay came in. I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even know what he looked like, but he was standing at the back of the room with, at the time, his manager at the time. And then he just came over and said, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jay." I went, "Oh, all right." And I went, "Oh, right. Oh, Jay. Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Great." And then I just sat down and just carried on playing. Because for me, it was just and then the second audition, when they said, "Oh, you got to come back for another audition," I was like, "Okay, well, this is promising." We went through a couple more tracks again, but what we did was we then started putting together ideas for the second album, for Space Cowboy.
Okay, cool.
But of course, I didn't know that. Do you know what I mean? All I was doing was just playing grooves and stuff, So Toby, God rest his soul, was playing this groove on the piano, and at the time I was into drum and bass, so he was playing this groove which was kind of slow, and then what I did was the beat that you hear on Just Another Story is the beat with the hi-hats and all that, but I was doing a much busier beat at the time, and then of course that didn't work. So what I did was I kept the hi-hat idea, and then did the beat the speed of what Toby was playing the keyboards at, basically. Okay. And that's the beat that you hear on the album.
All right.
Yeah. So and then we just jammed out a couple of other ideas as well, and that next thing we knew, it was 3 hours, and they said, "Oh, we give you a call," and I just went, "Oh, all right, see you later," and I just went.
And they did.
And they did. I actually totally forgot that I did the audition. I totally forgot all about it. Honestly, I totally forgot all about it. I just got the call and I see this number on my phone. Like, who's this? Hello. I'm thinking it's a debt collector or something. Like, oh yeah, Mr. McKenzie, you owe us 50 quid. All right. Hello. Hi, Derek. Oh, it's Kevin. Then he goes, "Oh, just to let you know, you got the job." Oh, great. Okay, great. Fantastic.
Cool. Can you tell me what job this is?
Yeah. What job is it again? Sorry. That kind of thing. But but I must admit, I really, I love playing with a band. It's such a great experience for me. It's been fantastic. It's 26 years now.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
To be in the same band.
Yeah. We're like family, like brothers and sisters. We're all like brothers and sisters. It's definitely a family, without a doubt.
I have no idea how that feels. The longest I stayed in a band was 8 years, and then I quit.
There are times when, I've never felt. I know that feeling actually, because I've been through that feeling where you just go, "Oh gosh, you know what? Am I?" But I'm kind of losing a bit of enthusiasm here. But but by losing that enthusiasm, it actually gave me the enthusiasm to actually carry on, to do something to push my drumming ability even more, and just to experiment more. But yeah, it's 26 years and it's been fantastic.
Cool.
I wouldn't take that away for the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first gig with them?
Yes, my first gig was in Paris at a place called, I think you might know this place, Le Bataclan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I did my
Wow.
first gig at Le Bataclan. Yeah, that was my first gig with Jamiroquai, and um, and we rehearsed and done this all the stuff, and then we played the gig and everything. And it's the first time I ever experienced cramp.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, because I got like towards the end of the gig, I was drunk through the gig and everything, and towards the end of the gig, I started to get cramp in my hand because drumming like non-stop, and it was about a 2.5 hour gig or something, you know, and it was full on non-stop tracks, everything, you know. But but you know, I had to get ice, put it on, and all that and everything. But that was my first gig, and it was a great gig, really good gig, and the first time I'd experienced that big a crowd with that much love for music. You know what I mean? For the music that I actually love to do, and with a band that I actually really love the music and playing the music with. You know, it's not, you know, I don't know if you've experienced it, but you can play some music sometimes with some bands, and you just like kind of like run of the mill, but you're not bored because you enjoy playing music, but you just go, oh, you
Yeah,
know
you do
what?
for the love of
Yeah.
music in general, not
In
for the love
general,
of the music you're
music.
playing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was really special, a special moment for me when I could, you know, say I'm playing the instrument that I love, with the music that I love, with a band with the music that I love, with the people who are really cool and great, and the audience is fantastic, you know, and the audience is you know, so it kind of all
They're
kind of came together,
actually there to see you.
and they're there to see. Well, they didn't know me at the time. It was the first gig, remember?
Yeah, I know, but
This bloke.
like they were there to see that band you're playing
Yeah, to
with.
see the band. Yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. Yeah. So that was my first gig. Yeah, it was great. Really nice experience. Really good experience. Indeed. I love that. Definitely one of the highlights of my career.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you play any other instruments besides drums?
I play when I'm ready.
He's gonna show it. Wow.
Yes.
Really badly. That
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
the Arturia Mini Lab.
All right.
Oh, cool. Look at that.
It's
Wow.
great. It's just
Looks
it's what I use.
complicated.
It's no, it's not.
Too
It's
many
actually just
buttons.
it's basically like a controller keyboard. Like
Okay.
a controller keyboard, and I just use it with my laptop to get all the information in. I've got all the sounds on my computer,
Uh-huh.
and I could use it. I could use these buttons here, filters and all that kind of stuff, and then I could use the drum pads if I'm programming.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't use them very often though, because of what I do.
Yeah, I know.
But
Because you have a second life as a DJ, right?
yes, I do. I do have a second life as a DJ.
And how did
Uh,
that start?
how did that start? Okay, I started DJing. I only started DJing maybe about 6 years ago,
Okay.
properly. But I've always been into DJing and wondered how it works, and something I've always really wanted to do from when I was a kid. You know, when I was at school, I've always been into it because I saw my mate doing it, Michael Thompson, and he was a great DJ, fantastic. Had all the latest records and everything. And I thought, well, you know what? I wish I could do that. I'd really like to do that. But you know, 6 years ago, I thought, right, I'm gonna get myself into it, and I bought myself a little controller and just started buying music. I mean, I had loads of music anyway, but I started buying music which I can use on the controller. Obviously, you know, with MP3s and the software, and just taught myself how to mix. You know, beat match and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, that's yeah, and it's kind of built up from there. Just doing small gigs, you know, go to clubs and just play little gigs with my controller and my computer set up, and just go in and play. You know, play for an hour. My longest gig to date is 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's long.
yeah. Started at
I was gonna say I thought you were gonna say like it was 50 minutes.
no, no. My longest gig today is 8 hours.
Wow.
8.5 hours actually. 8.5
Wow.
hours. Yeah, 8.5 hours with a few breaks. But again, because I love DJing, it, the time flew by. So I
Okay.
actually really enjoyed it. It's really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I love DJing because it's just, you know, you can connect it to drumming, obviously.
Mm.
You can connect it to drumming with the beat matching. And also being a musician, you can hear the music, the musicality of the songs and everything. So even though I DJ dance music, like disco, new disco, soulful house, that kind of thing, you hear the musical things at work, even down to tempos, you know, what tempos work with the crowd and stuff. And I kind of find that, am I talking too much? Sorry.
No, no,
No.
it's for you to talk. Actually, we shouldn't be
Sorry.
saying anything. It's all about you.
I've kind of found that over the years, the tempos that really work, depending on the type of music and everything, would be, I'd say, 115, 118 BPM to like 124, depending on time of day, the crowd, old, young, the type of music, you know, all these things you take into consideration. But you do all that in a flash. Because once you get behind the decks, you just go, right, it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, it's sunny, you're by the pool, you know exactly what you're going to play, you know what tempo. You would just go like 120 BPM or 122, 118 maybe, you know, and you just read the crowd and you just kind of just get into it, really. But it's all about the selection. That's
Cool.
it.
That's amazing. It sounds
Yeah.
like you're just like so like reading the crowd and you really know your tempos. And so does that mean for each gig you're just going in the moment, or do you have like a set that you kind of go to?
I go with the moment.
That's
Yeah, I'm
cool.
going with the moment. Obviously, I know what kind of gig I'm going to, so I know I'm going to play house or something, you know, house music, or I'm going to play new disco or disco or something, you know. But I go in, I just read the crowd as I go in, and I like to turn up maybe half hour before, sometimes an hour before I play, and I just sit and just watch the crowd and see what I can get away with. Sometimes I can get away with stuff. Sometimes you can't get away with stuff. Yeah. Classics. Or, you know, there are times when you have to kind of retrieve a situation. So I remember playing in a club where there was like what they'd say, like a support act, I suppose. So somebody was a duo playing before me. And one thing with DJs is that they're never considerate, or they're very rarely considerate of who's coming on after them. You know what I mean? So they're basically in their own world, and they will play like it's like a soulful house gig, and they'll be playing tech house, you know, and playing at like 128 BPM or something. And you're thinking, but hold on a minute, this is a kind of soulful house, kind of deep soulful house kind of crowd. So there is a rule here. Do you know what I mean? You know, but and they just tend to go off. You get some DJs who just go off in their own little world and not even giving a monkeys about what's coming on afterwards. And I've had to go in and like literally rescue a session, rescue an event, because the guy that played before us was just dreadful. It was awful, absolutely awful. And the poor promoter now is like kind of going to me, please do something here, because that guy's just ruined. He's just ruined it. Do you know what I mean? So you know, anyway. But you just go on and just do your thing. And once you know you've got them dancing, you kind of read the crowd and then just kind of build it up from there. But I love it. Again, you
Cool.
know, I love it. I love it all day long. I love DJ.
Nice. And has it changed? Being a DJ changed the way you drum? Has it not changed, but influenced the way you drum?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely influenced the way that I drum. Influenced my um, uh, not obviously not the style, because I've always been into disco and that whole kind of funk and all that kind of thing. it's not changed. It's changed. How can I say? It's changed the way I think, basically, about the way I drum, about the sounds. That's a key factor.
Okay.
Because by DJing, you're hearing all these tunes all the time, and the different drum sounds, even though they sound the same to a lot of people, but to me they sound different. You know that there's layered snare drums. You know that there's like 2 kick drums. They're using like 3 hi-hats, all that kind of stuff. And I try and take that and bring that into Jamiroquai.
Okay. Cool.
That dance, that's my kind of dance contribution to Jamiroquai, basically. Which I used a lot on the last tour, to be honest. I took that whole kind of DJing thing and brought it in using a hybrid kit, essentially. Using a hybrid kit.
Cool.
Which is great. Sorry, I've been talking for like an hour.
No,
well, but that's why we called you.
Yeah. We're running out of time, so I guess I usually end with the question about drumming education.
Okay.
Wondering if you think if there is anything missing from drumming education, what would it be?
If there's anything missing from drumming education, I think what is missing from drumming education is, and you can't really teach it, is teaching students how to feel music. That's one of the things I think is missing in drumming education. So, I've been brought up on feel, which obviously you get that experience through years and years of playing. But talking to students and saying to them, look, you need to be able to feel the tempo, be able to feel the beat, not just drum it, but feel the beat. So it affects you emotionally, basically. Just trying to teach them that is, you can't really teach them that. They just have to keep playing, but I think that's what's missing, that just to show or let them have the knowledge that actually exists in drumming. I suppose that's the best way I can put it, really. To know that the feel and the emotion in drumming is really, really important. So it's great to play fast, but it's also great to play slow.
And much more difficult.
And much more difficult. Yeah. Give thanks to Sly Dunbar and me on that one. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what's missing, really. And also the other thing, what's missing, I think, is getting students to learn to play slow to start with, so that they get their sticking right and have the patience. Patience is what's missing as well. Patience. Okay, now this is all coming out now, isn't it? Really, it's all coming out here. Look. But I'm only saying it because when I teach, it's what I notice in a lot of students. I notice that in a lot of students, they lack the patience. So what I need to do then is need to change the way in which I show them something, just to make it more fun, to make something boring fun. That's what I need to do, which I've done. I've managed to accomplish it somehow. But
cool.
And it normally works by letting them play to music. Basically. Let them do their rudiments to music.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what it is. As opposed to a metro, even though the metronome's good, because they need to do that for discipline, but playing to music gets them and teaches them the feel, gets them to know the feel, teaches them the tempo, teaches them discipline of keeping the groove correct and right all the way through as well. So that's my answer to your question, Kiara.
Lovely.
A bit long-winded, but I got there in the end.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Great.
Perfect timing to wrap it up. Thank you for your time and for your insights and everything.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, by the way. Really.
Well, was
Thank
really
you
great.
so much for having me,
Really
and thanks for supporting the band and all of and myself as a musician, as a drummer. you know, yeah, we just really appreciate it. I appreciate it very much, and of course, you know, we all appreciate it as well. So thank you very much. It's great. It's been amazing.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
No problem at all. I love doing these things, as you can well see. You know, I talk all day long. You know what I mean?
That's a good thing that we have somebody who actually likes doing it.
Oh my gosh, fantastic.